Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Stormtopia.com. I'm going to be discussing my thoughts for the winter of 2011 to 2012 in this forecast video. This is the official Stormtopia.com winter forecast. There are a number of things we're going to have to look at for this year's winter forecast. Analog years, we're going to talk about that in just a bit. The second thing is current climatic signs, what's going on right now. Third thing, teleconnection indices. And the fourth thing, there's other factors, but those are the three main ones. They come together for number 4. They come together for the final outlook. Now let's take a look at my main analog years. 1950, 51, pretty similar. A lot of the 50s you're gonna see showing up here. 1917, 1918 were pretty similar, and 75, 76. Last year was also quite similar to the pattern going to be setting up this year. Climatic variations, we're seeing a massive drought right now in the southern plains that will have a profound influence on their weather, and an abnormally warm Atlantic Ocean, which will have a pronounced influence on areas within 20 miles of the coastal plain. Teleconnection indices, we got the alphabet soup here: North Atlantic oscillation, Arctic oscillation, Pacific North American pattern, Eastern Pacific oscillation, Quasi-biennial oscillation, La Nina, El Nino. Should be in a La Nina for most of the winter. Let's talk about the North Atlantic oscillation. Right now, it is slightly negative. It's on its way around, it's just around neutral. It is probably going to go up through November, but it's going to slowly start tanking as we go into early December. By late December, we might be dealing with a very negative North Atlantic oscillation. So what's that mean? Well, a negative phase is winning. Here's why. We're seeing a dry pattern over the eastern United States. Now you say, I don't want a dry pattern, I want a snowy pattern. Well, let's talk about why it's dry. It's coming out of Canada, alright, and Canada dry is what we're going to be dealing with. Below average temperatures transported into the deep south and eastern U.S. seaboard. This is what happens during a negative North Atlantic oscillation. During a positive one, we sort of get a warmer air and get more of an influence from the subtropical jet, and this is why we're so excited between Thanksgiving and Christmas, very late November into December, maybe even into January, about a potential negative NAO coming up. Third thing is quasi-biennial oscillation. Positive quasi-biennial oscillation is not conducive for snowstorms. It's conducive for rainstorms along most of the East Coast, excluding New England. A negative quasi-biennial oscillation is better for snowstorms. If you don't believe me, I can give you lots of examples in past years. You're looking at the year and 12 months of the average sort of meaned out quasi-biennial oscillation. Again, a negative one is for good East Coast snowstorms, a positive one is for good New England snowstorms. 1996, the blizzard of 96 in January 1996, the blizzard of 06 in 2006 in January, I believe it was January 12th, or January 12th. 2007, a pretty substantial storm across the interior of New England, alright? But that was not significant to the south. South of the Mass-New Hampshire border, very little snow fell. Same deal in 08. South of Connecticut, not much going on. Although that was a pretty big storm for southern New England. 09, December 2009, we had a major storm. Now this was not the Boxing Day blizzard, this was snowpocalypse with a negative quasi-biennial oscillation. So the final interpretation is yellows, that's what positive QBO, that's good for New England. A red is good for the entire East Coast. Let's take a look at what the QBO is going to be doing this winter. It's going to be reaching a peak right around when some of the worst of the winter is going to be. Check it out, early winter. Even though it's rising into January, it is still negative. It doesn't go positive into February. We might be dealing with a February thaw this winter. So what's all this mean overall? Well, we're basically talking about a ton of snow this year in New England. Even during our negative phase, we are seeing lots of snow in New England. Negative quasi-biennial oscillation. Twice the average snowfall in the interior. In the interior, not in Boston. The worst of the winter otherwise is going to be from the upper Midwest back into southern New England. Half the winter is going to be white. Half the winter will be wet in the Mid-Atlantic. The likely situation is that the first half will be white and the second half will be wet, although March could be a little nasty. Southern Virginia back from southeast, the deep south, probably really not much of a winter, and dry and cold in the southern and central plains. Temperatures are going to be below average for everyone north of the Mason-Dixon line back through the Midwest, south of the Mason-Dixon line, right around average. Well above average snowfall into most of New England, above average snowfall into the Appalachians, into the northern Mid-Atlantic, southern Mid-Atlantic average, below average in southeast Virginia, and most of the deep south, southern plains. Well, that's it for now, folks. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned. Have a great day.